Alright, here we are on meditation 107 from this last day of May, the 31st. Going back in this meditation, or continuing on, it's a sort of, feedback loop of meditation on meditation, and lots of repetition, which has been the norm of this writing. And if you are just listening for the first time or checking this video out, this is part of a year-long commemoration of this writing I did 10 years ago that produced the book Being and Learning. And it's all being documented in the blog that's Duarte Being and Learning on Blogger. So if you go to Duarte Being Learning, all one word, .blogspot.com, you'll find some commentary that's, I think, kind of very different from the writing that I'm reading here, and it gives, well, that's all over the place, I mean, in terms of what I'm doing. And so, anyway, let me get going. So, these are meditations on meditation and ongoing conversation, in this case, with Heidegger, a big emphasis in this meditation. If, as Heraclitus says, wisdom is the oneness of the mind that guides and permeates all things, then the sage is the one who conveys this guidance. But to convey this guidance is to be the one who waits upon the call of the other. To wait upon the call of the other is the essence of the waiting that is practiced in meditation. Meditation, says Heidegger, takes us to the core of our being, quote, because man is a thinking, that is, meditating being. This meditative thinking need by no means be high-flown. It is enough if we dwell on what lies close and meditate on what is closest, upon that which concerns us, each one of us. Here and now, anyone can follow the path of meditative thinking in his own manner and within his own limits, unquote from Heidegger. We are, each and every one, capable of meditative practice, that practice which maintains us in a condition of attunement, ready and willing to submit ourselves to painstaking listening, to the appeal of language, and to the appeal of the other. Meditation conserves natality. The I finds itself in the proper dialogic relation with the other, the thou, when this relationship has been spared, that is, freed from the bearing of judgment. When we are no longer bearing down upon one another, we have entered into a relation of symmetric reciprocity. But this relation is not simply between humans, but the condition of relationality itself. When we identify the purposeful wandering of learning as unfolding along the way of the boundless boundary, we are identifying the modality of attunement that persists as the proper way of relating within the horizon of beings. The proper way of relation is gathered by being's directive, which unfolds in the processual twofold play and is communicated in the ineffable silence of the word. Meditative practice complements poetic dialogue, which is the enjoyment of communing, the collaborative building of poetic dialogue. In heeding the appeal, the meditator submits herself to painstaking listening, the exercise that conditions her for steadfast openness. Meditation is essentially a practice of hearing, and the one who practices meditation is spared or freed from the static noise of the juridical voice. To be spared from this static noise is to be released into the freedom of letting be. Heeding the appeal of language, hearing being, is to maintain the proper condition necessary for letting be. In being freed from the juridical voice, one is capable of following the path of the sage. But to follow the path is to travel into an enchanted region, the enchanted region of meaning-making, which is bounded by the unforeseen. The one who travels into this region must renounce and relinquish the modality of calculation, or instrumental reasoning, that form of cognition that presumes the existence of definitive answers and seeks to impose a false order onto that which is incomplete, unfinished, and always already a process that has not yet completed its unfolding. To renounce and relinquish this instrumental cognition is to abandon the path of what Heidegger calls calculative thinking. The modality of calculative thinking is furthest from the freedom of poetic dwelling. We recall, quote, "The more poetic a poet is, the freer." That is, the more open and ready for the unforeseen. The furthest what he says is from a propositional statement that is dealt with solely in regard to its correctness or incorrectness, end quote from Heidegger. The open region, the enchanted domain, is a realm of pure meaning-making, of freedom, of initiation and spontaneity, of song and celebration, of peace, emergent from a many who are gathered together as one, a polyphonic chorus. Yet the juridical voice of the solitary ego, which bears the reifying gaze that maintains him as an I, apart and above others, finds no place in this enchanted domain. This voice is muted and unrecognized by the polyphonic chorus of freedom and peace. This voice, which is impatient with mere meaning-making, seeks definitive answers, but is unheard within the open region. The calculative is inoperative within a domain of freedom, the instrumental non-functioning within a realm of creativity, spontaneity, and the force of unpredictability. Calculative thinking seeks, quote, definitive results. Such thinking remains calculation, even if it neither works with numbers nor uses adding machines or computers. Calculative thinking computes. Calculative thinking never stops, never collects itself. Calculative thinking is not meditative thinking, nor thinking which contemplates the meaning which reigns in everything that is, unquote from Heidegger. At present, calculative thinking has manifested itself as the hegemonic discourse in the organization and practice of institutional learning. Schooling has become and is the region of calculative thinking, and children, stunted in their learning, have been rendered computable beings, beings to be charted, measured, assessed through numerical and quantitative means. At present, the pathway to the open region of meaning-making has been barred, and the voice of the sage silenced. The sage remains hidden yet waiting, and like Heraclitus retains the name of the obscure one. The one who seeks to reintroduce the freedom of meaning-making into present-day schooling is strengthened by the conditioning of meditation and encouraged by the appeal of language, which recollects the mortality of all human saying and points to the limits of what appears beyond any and all hegemonic discourses. What lies closest at hand is what is beyond the hegemonic reign of calculative thinking. And that's how it ends on this 31st day, the last day of May, originally written 10 years ago and documented today. Again, if you want to see some context or how I'm thinking or writing about this meditation from where I am today and the work I'm doing, check out the blog where this is all being documented and collected. Duarte Being Learning, all one word, .blogger. And yeah, I kind of, just as a quick commentary, like the flourish that I ended with because it really brought it home. I'm going to note that this meditation 107 is one of those that really captures the context in which I was working out this project. You know, it was against something that I was doing this work, for sure. So, with the help of Heidegger, I was able to create space to think outside against, if you will, the calculative that's dominating contemporary education.